Hey everyone, Pauline here from Zilch Beauty, back with another installment of our ZODIAC makeup series. We are currently winding down the month of March and we're heading into the month of April, which means it is Aries season. Now, if you don't know about Aries, they are the first sign in the zodiac, which says a lot about them. They are confident, courageous, determined, enthusiastic, honest, passionate. They're coming out the gate hot. I think that's the first thing that I think of with Aries. On the weakness side, a little impatient, moody, aggressive, but I think what comes to mind for me when I think of Aries is bold. So I'm gonna create a look today that's on the bolder side, and I'm gonna use some of my own makeup as well as some of Subtl's products to make this bold, fiery, strong-willed Aries look come together. So if you wanna see it, keep on watching. So I'm gonna do my foundation and my facial coverage first, and then we will get into the rest of the look. All right, so I have my foundation on. I'm now going in with the shade Arlington. This is one of Subtle's concealers, and I'm using their little pad here, and I'm gonna just start to get that right in the corner of my inner eye and just slowly bring it out toward the edges and down around my nose. I'm also putting a little bit on top of my lids because I'm going to use this as a eyeshadow primer. So now I'm going to set. I am using the Shine Control powder, and I'm going to use a bit of a more pointed brush to set this in place. I like to just get in right in the corners and then a little bit out on the edges so that my under eye doesn't look too dry. I'm also going to put a little bit of the powder on my eyelids. Since I did use concealer as my primer, I want to make sure it's just setting down so that my shadow that I'll use won't get too sticky. Okay, so I have a shadow palette that is not from Subtle, but I'm going to use it to create my warm, bold, fiery eye look, and then I'll come back and show you what I use from Subtle to incorporate. All right, so it looks a little crazy right now. You can see we have this like orangey fiery vibe going. I'm now gonna use the Subtle Champagne Highlighter to bring some sparkle to that middle of this halo eye that I've created. I'm gonna go back in with that pointed brush with the champagne highlight just to touch that middle of the bottom. I'm gonna clean up the under eyes and add some lashes, and then we'll move on to the face. All right, so I've added my big lashes and some bold, fluffy brows to complement this bold look. Now I'm gonna go in with their bronzer. You can use cool or warm. I'm actually gonna use the shade Cool today because I'm gonna be pairing it with the Dusty Rose Lip and Cheek. And I don't know, for my skin tone, I think the Cool looks a little bit better, but if you wanna go the full warm, hot, fiery route, totally can use their warm bronzer. So I'm actually using one of Subtle's brushes. I'm just gonna flatten it a little. I'm gonna pick up the product and then flatten it just a little bit. And then I'm gonna make a bit of a more like contoured line with this because this bold, edgy look, I think deserves some sort of contour. You always wanna buff your contour up to keep with that lifted effect. Use that same bronzer to define my nose a little bit. It's a very Aries, powerful, intense, on the more intense side of a look, for me at least. And I assume many of you who like to use the Subtle products. So I don't do this every day, but you can totally use their bronzers to do this. And then I'm actually gonna use that champagne highlight right on the tip of my nose and right up here. You can use any extra right down the middle. All right, so now for lip and cheek, I'm using Dusty Rose. I'm gonna warm it up with my finger to place it. I'm actually gonna use one of Subtle's flat brushes. This can be a foundation brush, but I think it actually works really well for their cream lip and cheeks. It just gets a lot of surface area for you. Quick trick is to just bring any of that excess up into the hairline on top of that bronzer, especially with the Dusty Rose shade because it's on the warmer side, so you can totally use it to help define some contour. Next, I'm gonna do my lips. I'm gonna go back in with the Dusty Rose. This is gonna pull it all together. You can also use their lip brush here. I'm gonna use this to kind of like define the edges, almost like a lip liner on top of the shade. It'll give you like a little bit of a more glossy finish. I personally love that. My final step is gonna be to use that champagne highlight again on the top of my cheeks. All right, and here's the final look. So this to me is like a really cool makeup look that's on the bolder side, but you could also wear this out day to day. This isn't a wild, insane makeup look. This is all something that you can create yourself at home with a warm eyeshadow palette, as well as all of the products that I use from Subtl, plus some of their amazing tools. So happy Aries season, and we'll see you next month for our next edition of our Zodiac makeup series. Bye everyone.